all that lumber debris. Sometimes, quite often, they'll go around in the woods, they'll collect debris like that, and they'll just stack it together and make a shelter. We're right in the middle of nowhere. So when you see things like this, you know it's not done by a human being. Almost, it looks just like a, what do we call a wiki? Self-created game. Look at the way everything's stacked up. Look at that. That definitely was not done by humans. Ain't that something?
Like a giant beaver there.
Yeah, well look how everything, look at the wood. See everything's placed. You know what I'm saying? That, almost like it was planned out engineering. I can't stress that point how intelligent these creatures are. When I tell you my theory, it was going to clarity. I think what we're in, guys, we have a break here. We have a break here. We have a break here. Back over here, there's the other one, and there was two more. Now you put this all together. And you got this. Right here about that. And you got this. I'm kind of thinking that this is kind of a warning. We shouldn't be here. I'm getting that vibe from what I'm seeing. I've never seen the brakes in such positions as this. Unreal.
looks like our boots on the ground come to an end. I hope you like the DVD. But, like I told you at the beginning of it, hello. How y'all doing? Well, this is how I wanted to end the year of 2025. Showing you this. And the reason also the second reason I did that, besides of ending 2025, what you had just saw and experienced is absolutely rare footage. And you will never see anything like that from any other researcher in the field of research that I do. I promise you that. What you just experienced was a one-of-a-kind. End of story. One of a kind. Not only that, that was flat out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, right out in the middle of the Sierra Mountains. I think we were at an elevation of about between 5,000 and 6,000 feet when we found that. And the only reason we came across it was my expertise in tracking. That's what led it to me. And not only that, during that tracking process, I came across some footprints and about around 4 to 5 different piles of scat, Sasquatch scat. And as I kept tracking and following the evidence, it led me to that constructed shelter. And to be quite honest, all the years I've been doing this, I've been researching now for almost 20 years. And I have never came across anything like that before, and I haven't since. That's how rare it is. You will never see anything like that again, I promise you that. And not only that, check this out. That day, we were actually being followed by 2 of them, 2 males. I caught them twice. We were down in a creek, in a gully, deep gully. And we had been following that creek for about 3 miles. And when we got to about the 2.5 mile point, I heard some noise above me, and I looked up. It was kind of a ridge line going up because you're down deep in a gully. And I saw one go by, and a second one right behind him. It's all thickets of pines. But in between the pines, I could see them where they went through. They're that quick. So, and furthermore, when I looked inside the constructed shelter, and when I viewed on the inside, they did such a fantastic job on the roof. Everything inside was all interlocked like this. Typical hominin hybrid construction. Period. It's the same way they would have constructed it 2 million years ago, a million years ago. And I know that through anthropology. Now, and not only that, a lot of those logs that they had to gather around from the forest, and that's what they do, and they put it all there constructed, it had to take at least 4 of them. So there was no doubt, there was probably about, I'd say 4 to 5 adults that were living in that constructed shelter. I also know this too by all the evidence. The footprints, 4 or 5 piles of droppings, the breaks, and when I viewed inside, and of course, you're just not going to just rush up on something like that. You got to be really cautious. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I cautiously and methodically approached it, and the cameraman and Garland stayed way behind. I guess in case anything came out, they got a head start, you know. Anyway, as I was peering in there seemed to be two different entrances. As I was peering in there, despite it was dark, I seen no kind of eye shine at all. So I figured, okay, that's cool, and there's nothing in there right now. So I kind of put my head up in there and looked around, and it was all full of bedding. And I could tell the bedding had impressions all through it. In other words, it was in use. Now, even though that would look bleached, because it's been out in the environment, it's going to bleach it. I would say, you know, that wood is probably a couple years old. The construction, not. Now, I'm telling you right now, that constructed shelter, it was not built, it was not constructed millenniums ago, centuries ago, or decades ago. As a matter of fact, it had been recent when we found that. It had only probably been up for maybe, I'd say maybe anywhere from a year, if that. And it was actually in use. Now, what I never seen before either, and still haven't, was the breaks that were there. And if you picture this, south of me is the constructed shelter. Okay, to the north of me, if you're standing there in front of the shelter, to the north of me, what I'm looking at is there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 huge pine trees that went like this, like a horseshoe. And they were all snapped, all at the same level. I mean, just snapped in half, period. End of story. We didn't know where the other trees went. You couldn't find them anywhere in the area. But there it was. That day, what I said was this. The way it appeared to be, the way it was set up, I classified that as the Sierra Stonehenge. It had to have some kind of symbolization, some kind of reference to something. I quite could never put that quite together because I've never experienced anything like that. It's extremely loud. It could tell me many things, like it tells me their aggressiveness, their prowess, their power, their strength. That's why they snapped them all like that. They're also showing me their intelligence. They can also construct things. I'm more than sure it also represents, because it's so loud, I believe also it's a very, very loud symbol of territory. Period. And I think it might have something else there that I haven't figured out yet. But nonetheless, what you just experienced was one of the best absolute proofs of the existence of the North American Sasquatch, and particularly out here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay? And to be honest with you, to this day, right now, it's probably still being in use. I will never, ever, ever tell anybody where that's at. My secret. And the only other person that knew was G. So, you know, oh, and I'll tell you something else too. A lot of these logs they put together when they constructed this, they had an average weight of anywhere from 300 pounds, 500 pounds, up to 1,000 pounds. Okay? So, no human being done it. There was no access for any human being to get in there. I mean, we hiked in there and we scurried around like cockroaches, man, through thickets and everything else. When we found that, it's only because of my tracking. That's it. Other than that, I didn't even know it existed. But nonetheless, that day, It was very productive. We found a shitload of evidence. And yes, they are real and they do exist. Period. End of story. I hope you enjoyed that video. Because you're never going to see something like that. You can look on the internet all you want. You will not see a constructed shelter as I just showed you. I promise you. Anyway, you know what, y'all? Y'all have a Happy New Year. And I know you all be celebrating tomorrow. Be safe. Don't do nothing stupid and foolish. Be safe. It's better to stay home. It's the best thing you could do. That way you don't have to worry about anything. You know, you can really enjoy yourself. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a good one. And I'll be seeing you in 2026. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Happy New Year. Bye.